Since I'm still currently all caught up with stuff that's new for the year, that means I'm still digging into my backlog. And, well, here we've got a figure that I've had for quite some time and just never really got around to making a video on. Which, now that I think about it, that's going to be the explanation for most of the stuff that I'm covering from here on out for the foreseeable future. Point is, this is Planet X's Fatum, or Fatum, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's their version of a Fall of Cybertron Thundercracker. And I don't have all three of the Seekers, I just got this guy because back when I first got him, he was on sale on BBTS for I think 50 or 60 bucks, and it's a really cool figure. I also went with this version as opposed to Skywarp, which they also had on sale, because I just thought the blues here worked a little bit better color-wise, because Skywarp's design, it's black and purple. It looks really cool, but it made the figure look a little bit less visually interesting because it was, this black plastic and stuff was still there, but then the blue bits were black, so it's just a whole lot of, we've got Thundercracker here, Fatum. I'm just going to call him Thundercracker because it's just easier and I don't have to worry about mispronouncing it. And this is a very cool figure. I also kind of wish that I had the Studio Series Gamer Starscream so I could do a comparison between the two, but at the same time I'm still kind of unsure whether I want to actually get that figure or not, even though I hear it's fun, because it's just that cockpit design really puts me off. But anyway, we're talking about this. We're not talking about that. So it looks really nice. It's definitely got its things, but I feel like this looks pretty good. I honestly think it looks better than either the Generations or Thrilling 30, whatever it was, or the Studio Series versions that we got. And let's just get into it. So here we've got the Cybertronian Tetrajet. I think these are supposed to be Tetrajets. The Cybertronian Tetrajet mode. He's got his weapons on him. And this doesn't really, this thing doesn't actually have a dedicated storage spot that I'm aware of. This Energon Mace thing. So what I end up doing is just like in vehicle mode, you can just kind of slide it back there, but it looks terrible and doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really go there. But there we've got the Energon Mace, and it looks neat for what it is. And for some reason, you can pop the handle off. I guess maybe if you wanted him to hold it up here more, I don't know. But that's what you can do with that, and that's just going to go off to the side for now. He also has his, I don't know if they're null rays or what in this continuity, but he has guns attached on the underside of the wings, on either wing, as you can see there. And they look good. I do have issues with these that we'll get into more or that I'll get into more when we get to the robot mode, but they look good for what they are. Something that does kind of bum me out is the hinge on this one is extremely loose. It doesn't flop, but it's loose enough that it's extremely easy to bump out of place, and that's really annoying with how I tend to use these things in robot mode. So I need to tighten that up at some point. But as I said, they just peg into the underside of the wing, so I'm just going to unpeg both of these because I don't want them on there anymore. So these can unpeg. And you can fold up the pegs for the words for, we'll just, you can fold up the pegs. I'm not going to do it now. We'll leave it at that. So the actual Tetrajet mode looks really nice. I do like too how this actually hides the head pretty well. You've got the robot mode head right there. It's just sticking out right there. You can lift up the little panel and hello. But it covers the face pretty well. If you look at it from the underside, there you've got the back of the head. If you wanted to, you could rotate the head around. I don't know why this doesn't like to stay together. I feel like I must be doing something wrong for this to do that. But this section here just does not. It separates very easily. The problem is rotating this. No, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the head you can see under there. So like if you wanted to, you could have the head rotated 180 degrees so that the back of the head is up there. And I feel like I think that might be what you're supposed to do. But I like doing the head rotation because this covers up the face and you don't see the robot mode face from the underside. So it does a little bit better of a job for hiding that. But the rest of the Tetrajet looks good for how it is in the game, I think. I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but I do think it looks good, and I think it comes together in a really interesting way. Though it is a little bit there are some nuances to this design, I will say that. But this is one of those figures. I'm rambling so much. I'm sorry. This is one of those figures that with other Planet X figures, and I said this when I was looking at what was it? Chaos, there's Shockwave, and also there's Vulcan, where like Planet X figures tend to have at least one transformation step that's scary to do. This mold does not have that, which I really appreciate. I like the fact that there's nothing in the transformation here where I feel like I'm flexing something in a way it's not supposed to flex or potentially breaking something. So that is cool. But anyway, yeah, there's lots of nice molding on here. I think the color separation is nice. I also like how the blue that they chose, it's semi-metallic, kind of, and it's a darker tone, so it still separates the colors out from like the black and grays and whatnot, but because it's a darker tone blue, it still kind of matches in a way. Because if it were brighter, it would contrast more, but I also feel like it might pop a little too much, might distract from the rest of it. So here I feel like the colors and everything kind of blend much better, and then instead of the rest of the design drawing your eye, it's this bright orange translucent cockpit piece that really draws your eye. And unlike the Studio Series version, this is a decent shape. Again, there could be an accuracy thing that this is doing it wrong, I don't know, but I just really do not like that Studio Series cockpit design, and as of this recording, the Toy Hacks label for Studio Series Gamer Starscream did go up, and I'm honestly incredibly disappointed in what I'm seeing from that sticker set, because like the only thing that needed to happen to, I hesitate to use the word fix. I hate when people use that to describe things where it's like you're not fixing it, you're changing it to suit your needs, and saying fix is kind of a jerk way of being like, oh, they did it wrong, but I'm doing it right. That's a rant for another time. Point is, one thing that would have really helped the look of Studio Series Gamer Starscream's cockpit section, both robot and vehicle mode, is if there were just a little bit more color around the outside to essentially make that cockpit glass, the orange piece, look a little bit smaller. Like the piece would still be the same size, but it would just look smaller. And I really thought the Toy Hack set was going to do a thing that would like add labels to the side that would cover up that orange and thus make the cockpit section look just a little bit more narrow. But they don't have stickers for that. They do have stickers for that piece for like the front section and a little bit for the back, I think, but like they don't have anything for the side, and it's just like, why? That's literally all you needed to do. Anyway, I've been ranting way too much. This is a neat looking Tetrajet mode, and let's just get into the size comparisons because I've gone so off the rails in this video already. So let's bring in our standard comparisons. We've got our Voyager. And again, for anyone who missed it, I've replaced Artfire with Buzzworthy Dinobot because I just didn't want to hang on to Artfire anymore. But there is Thundercracker with a deluxe. So yeah, this is a much bigger, much bigger figure than a standard deluxe. I'd say he's probably ballpark, maybe liter size, but that's also kind of up for interpretation. This is just going by like generalities, generalness, whatever. It's not He's big. He's not. He's way bigger than a Deluxe, way bigger than a Voyager. You get the drift. And now we can also bring in a completely different Seeker mold because I don't have any Fall of Cybertron Seeker designs that I can bring out for size comparisons. But here is Planet X's Fall of Cybertron Thundercracker with Reactivate. That's what it is. With Reactivate Starscream and the actual, like, from the top they look to be about the same size, but like you look at them from the bottom and there's like a lot more bulk going on here. So I don't know. I guess maybe technically this guy could work as like a Voyager, but be a very big Voyager, I think. But anyway, that's how they look together. And finally, here we have our most important of size comparisons, as always. Here is Thundercracker with the duck tank. Now, once again, before we move on to the transformation, just as a quick aside, if you like this video or any of the other videos that I've done on the channel and you would like to support things, I do have a Patreon or a Ko-fi. Links to both are going to be at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Other than that, you could always like, comment, share, subscribe if you want to help out instead that way. So with that out of the way, let us transform this thing. Now, the little landing strut thing, it folds up into the nose cone section, but you do actually need to separate this in order to get the clearance to fold that in, and then you can kind of close that back up. So that's kind of an unfortunate design thing, but it's not that bad. Also, something I wanted to mention, the wings on the sides here do extend, so if you wanted to, you could pull them out for the vehicle mode. Personally, I prefer to leave them in for vehicle mode and pull them out for robot mode, but that is an option. Now let us transform this thing. So, first thing, going to take these little back struts here and fold them down, just to get those ready, because we're going to have them standing. Take these pieces here, and these actually slide out. There's a groove inside here that goes around this little like carved out, this little T-shaped tab here. So when this comes down, this actually slides down over it, and that locks the back and front sections together. So slide that out, and now we've got this happening. Now we can rotate the forearms out and bring them up just to get them out of the way. I'm going to take these pieces here that will become the shoulder pads, and these actually untab from this like black piece here, and it is a little snug, but just kind of want to wiggle, keep wiggling, wiggle, wiggle, maybe wiggle a little bit harder. It's hard to get a finger in there to wiggle it out, but you can kind of see the tab is coming out. And separating this will help. Because there you can see there is the tab in there. So just trying to wiggle that out, and it is being a bit of a jerk. So this might call for a spudger. Let's try and get the spudger in there to just carefully pry this apart. Come on. There we go. There. And that frees up the arm. And, oh boy, I think I'm noticing a little bit, maybe I'm just imagining it, but I feel like there's a little bit of stress showing on the tab. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say. Can't tell if it's stress, but I guess something to be aware of. Be easier if you could just get that done. Can I get a finger in here and like push this out, I wonder? Kind of. Ah, yeah, you can push it out. Okay, so maybe try that. So with that done, now the arms can straighten out this piece can rotate around and come down. That'll become the shoulder pad. And we'll just kind of leave the arm like that for now. So bring this around, straighten that out, rotate that, and bring it down. And there we've got the arms kind of, sort of ready to go. I'm going to take this piece, the whole back section here disconnects from the legs, but there's a little peg right in here. I want to kind of pull this out. There you can see the little, right there. It's this little peg pegs into that little hole, and that's what keeps the wing in place. So you pull that out and rotate this up like that. Same deal here, just give this a little tug and rotate it out. And the thing is, like, that I feel like could be the Planet X scary moment, but it's really not bad because you're not pulling it very far. It's not a very big peg. It doesn't like super securely peg in. It just kind of sits, but it's engineered in a way that like it's not going to come out on its own. So it's not that bad. But anyway, with the wings pulled out, now the legs can untab from this piece here. And this piece can come up and just kind of orient up like that. And while we're doing it, we'll just rotate that around 180 degrees to get it out of the way of the legs. And now we can finish the legs. So going to grab the knee pad here and pull to open up the entire lower section of the leg, and then double hinge this up and out. And now the way this works, there's there are these little like bits here, these little kind of almost tabs sticking out here, and there are these little slots just inside here. You want to line it up, and I don't know the best way to show this, but you want to line it up so that the tab kind of goes into that track, and that will get the leg lined up and together. And you can tell it's lined up because this piece is relatively, like the black piece here, is relatively flush with the blue. So with that done, we can take this piece, and this was the little strut that connected to what was the backs of the arms. This folds in, and this folds in, and then this whole assembly tucks into the shin, just like that. And then this can come up, and this will just, these tabs will go into these little slots on either side here. So that comes in, closes up, and that finishes off one leg. Very, very simple compared to getting the arms untapped. And again, pop that up, double hinge this out, and then hinge it back in. This side is a lot easier for some reason. And close this up, close it up, there we go. Then this will rotate in, and in, and in, and there we go. Now Thundercracker has legs. The upper body is involved, so or not as involved, but or not super involved, but it is more involved than the legs. So you want to take this entire midsection assembly, and this is on a double hinge as well. So this will pull out, where you can kind of see the double hinge right back there, and this will hinge up, and that just kind of extends the torso. And now there are these little pieces here. Is that a stress mark? No, that can't be a stress mark. That is a... How did I get a stress mark there? I have a stress mark right there. I don't understand where that came from. Are you sure that's not gunk that... That is so weird. I don't understand how that could be stress. There's no stress on this part. Whatever. These two flaps here are on a ball joint and hinge. You can see the little, or swivel here, so you can swivel these down. I don't know, maybe I was pulling on this wrong, but you want to swivel this down like that, use the ball joint to rotate this around, and this whole thing comes down and tucks into the side, and that makes the kind of the side of the waist section. Same deal here, just bring that up and hinge it down, and there we go. Seriously, how did that get stressed like that? It doesn't make any sense. Guess I just did something wrong one day. But yeah, these just close in like that. Now, I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this piece and fold it down. I'm going to take these two little flaps back here, move those back so we can rotate the head, and now these are on a double hinge, so these can hinge up and out like that. And these just come up and sit right behind the head. This backpack section can just kind of come up. And now, let's do the backpack. So, probably should have done this when it was still in jet mode, but these two flaps peg in right around here. So you kind of want to pull up to untab them. You can see it's this little tab here that tabs in. This little tab tabs in there. So bring that up, and then with that brought up, you can now slide this forward. And you kind of want to have it at an angle because there's another tab back here that has to clear this hinge. So you can't have it like, basically that tab will bop into it if you're not careful. So you want to angle it so that you have the clearance to slide that all the way up like that. And same deal here. Untab it, angle it, and just slide it. You don't want to force it. It's not too hard to get the angles right. You just want to be careful. So do that. Now these can come in, but you don't want to tuck them away just yet because you want to untab back fin and then untab the this piece back here. And actually, you can see it's like tabs on this side going into notches on this side. So you want to swing it up like that to unhook them basically, because they are hook tabs. So get that untabbed, and then you can rotate this around 180 degrees. And now with that rotated around, this can rotate in like this. And that's why you wanted to have these flaps up still. Now with those flaps up, this can come back in. And basically, instead of sitting down like this, like it was for the vehicle mode, it tucks in like this. And this tab that had to clear that hinge before will tab in right in there. So just angle it and tab it in. And there's also this tab in here that has to tab in right there. So make sure it's slid all the way down and just get it into place, and there you go. And what I like to do is take this piece and just angle it back. You don't have to, but that's what I like to do. So again, bring this in, get that tabbed in, bring that up, and now I'm gonna extend those wings. Why am I finding so much gunk all over this figure all of a sudden? I guess I didn't look at it too clearly when I first got it. But yeah, that's the backpack done. I want to make sure again that this is hinged up like it's supposed to be. Now the tip of the nose will fold in all the way in like that. These flaps you want to have out so that this can come down, and there is a little basically this tab that's on the landing strut will tab into this portion on the belly. So that comes down and will also, this rotates. So rotate that down, bring that in, and that will tab into place. These pieces here fold in, and they will also, do they tab in here? No, I thought maybe they did. Thought they tabbed in. Anyway, bring this down, make sure that that's tabbed in, bring these pieces in, and they should kind of settle around this the midsection. This piece up here folds in and tabs into. There's this little gap on the plank that the head sits on. You just want to fold this in and get that in there, which maybe I should do before fixing the rest. There we go. So just angle it and press it in like that, and that will get everything else. That'll make lining up everything else a little bit easier. I do not know what is going on with these pieces on the side, though. I don't know why this isn't quite lining up, but whatever. So we've got all this situated. Now this backpack comes up, and these tabs on the sides of those flaps will plug in here on either side of the backpack. So bring that up, and should also tab in somewhere else than just those two pieces. But no, it looks like it is just those two pieces. All right. Anyway, this comes up and tabs into flap number 1 and tabs into flap number 2. That should lock the torso together. Oh, that came undone. Cool. Love that. Okay. Now I think we're all locked in. There we go. I can angle these. I mean, these have a little bit of movement to them. They don't move much, but they do move down. These pieces, they kind of settle into these spots along the back here. So they just have a place to sit. I feel like they could come back just a little bit more, but no, it doesn't look like it. So anyway, that is all situated. And finally, since we didn't do it before, we're going to take care of the hands. So this flap opens up, and then you've got to get the hands out, and getting the hands out is a little bit of a pain because of how they sit, they sit really deep in there, and you don't have anything to grip here. So I guess what you could do is you could use the handle of the mace, just pop that out and use the handle of the mace to get in there and then leverage the hand out. So that's one option. And close up that panel. That is one arm. Or if you don't want to go the mace route, let's bring in the gun here. Try and get that peg to leverage the fist out. It's not as easy with the gun, but it can be done. So there we go. And that is Planet X's Fall of Cybertron Thundercracker, all transformed into his robot mode. And he looks pretty darn cool. I still don't understand what's going on with some of the weird stress marks that I was seeing on this thing. I don't remember seeing them before, but it's possible that I didn't notice them because I wasn't looking at them under a big focused light. It's also possible that the stress mark on that midsection piece was something that developed over time, or maybe I did something silly when I was transforming this guy into vehicle mode for this video, and that caused the stress mark. I don't know. But there he is, and he does actually look pretty darn cool. It's a neat design for the Seekers, and again, I like how the blue keeps that overall darker tone going, but it does mix up the colors, where you've got black, gunmetal-y, dark gray, little bits of silver here and there, a little bit of light gray, and then the darker blues and purples. It does look nice. And the separation is nice. I like that you get a little bit of that blue in the legs, the arms, the upper body, and of course the wings in the back. I can't really think of much deco-wise that's oh yeah, this looks bad, or this could use more. Maybe he could use a little bit more color in the forearms, but I feel like having the lighter gray up here does mix up the color a little bit more, so that doesn't really bother me. Yeah, he looks good. surprisingly clean, because, you know, he's got the wings at the back, but he's supposed to have those. And it's just overall a pretty darn cool looking figure. I do like this design a lot. And again, as I said, I think this particular figure pulls off the look better than any of the other options we have. So, the head. It is, it's a Evolved Cybertron Seeker head. It's got the kind of Seeker shape with the little vents at the side. Like, it's very reminiscent of the regular Seeker head shape, but it's a little bit more boxy. It's a little bit more Cybertron-y, I guess. The face it does the part, but has like a little bit more in terms of like angular molding in a few places. So it almost, it's kind of a strange look because it looks like he has a chin strap and a nose guard on, but it's all the same color as the rest of the face. So it's kind of like, it's an interesting choice, but it gets the point across. I think it looks good. The eyes are this nice metallic-y red, which you can see from the back of the head here, the block, and it's kind of like, okay, was it supposed to be light piped and they decided not to do that? Which is fine, I guess. Like, I guess maybe this is a little bit cheaper for them to do because it's like two pieces of plastic coming together to give him the red eyes rather than having like two halves of the head being in this color and then having another separate piece for the eyes that goes on the inside. So that's just speculative on my part, but it is a little bit silly that he's got basically a light piping block that is not translucent plastic. But the eyes look nice. They do stand out well. It's, you know, because it's not light piped, you don't have to worry about the eyes looking dead when he doesn't have light on him, which I like very much. And with the head looked at, let's talk articulation. So the head, as you saw, is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of tilt and pretty decent amount of up and down, and then you can also look left and right. The left and right movement is hampered by the backpack, though. That gets in the way of the head, but the amount of tilt or turn you get, I think, is fine, because if you looked any more to the side, then that would, you know, he'd be blocked by this thing, so I think it makes sense. The arms, which I didn't mention this before, but I like how you've got this extra hinge underneath the shoulder pad. It just makes this read more as like armor, which I think is cool. But the arms can do theoretically a full 360, but the problem is the wings are in the back, so you're not going to get all the way around. Also, when you're moving this around, you want to be careful of this piece back here because it can get in the way, which is one of the reasons why I like to rotate it back, because that gives you a little bit more clearance for the rotation. Due to the transformation, you also get a butterfly hinge. Squeaky butterfly hinge. I don't think that's coming through on the microphone, but you can do that. This piece can move up and around and out of the way in a lot of positions, so it just kind of, you may need to like push it back when you're moving the arms, but for the most part you can like get the arm wherever you want and then just give it a tap to try and get it as seated as it can be. So I like that gets out of the way. The shoulder pad can come up and can rotate. You don't really need the rotation for the articulation, but that coming up will help because then you can bring the arm up. And so you can bring the arm up. It actually does stop. There's a very clear spot where it's like that arm is not going past that point. So you bring the arm up to a little, just very slightly past 90. You get a bicep rotation. You also have a double jointed elbow, so you've got a lower elbow joint. Let's actually show this on camera. You've got a lower elbow joint, and then you've got an upper elbow joint, so you can bend that arm in as much as you need, which is cool. That's, you know, for transformation, but also it does work well for the robot mode. And also, if you want to keep the arm looking relatively natural, you can use the upper hinge so that you don't bend this and like get a break in the sculpt quite as dramatically. Bring that back down. Actually, no, let's bring this up. Bring them both up because it does have a waist swivel. It's not great. The range is limited due to how all of this compacts in and how this tucks in here, but You do get a bit of waist swivel, and if you start untabbing things, you can get a little bit more. But I prefer not to untab things. Very much prefer not to. The hips can go forward a whole lot, and could go back a whole lot if the backpack weren't there, but you've got a lot of range on the forward and backward range on the hips. Outward is not quite 90 because of the sculpting here, but it's pretty good. You get a thigh rotation that can go pretty far, and you also get some detail in there just in case you rotate it far enough. The knees can bend past 90, which is really good. The joint is a little high on the leg, but it's fine. And the feet are on ball joints, so you get some tilt, but you also get rotation. So you can kind of go up and down, in and out, and rotate. And then in addition to all of that, there are these little flaps at the heel that can move up and down, and the toe can move in and out. So it's for transformation for the toe at least, but it gives you some options so you can get a little bit funky with the posing. Now for those accessories. The guns can be pegged into the hand, so he can hold it like it's a gun if you want to do that. Additionally, they can be pegged into the underside of the forearm. And I get this, and I think it's probably like a game thing, but I don't like it. This doesn't look right to me. For me, it's like they always should be, the guns should be, more up here, but like I understand why they're not. But that just kind of stinks for me. Now, there's a little track inside here that I think what you can do is, this may also have been for the vehicle mode now that I think about it, but fold this in and attach this here. Oh wait, no, probably going this way, maybe. This is this is something I should have done in vehicle mode, but yeah, I think that's supposed to go over that for vehicle mode, maybe. So it's like a different way for the guns to attach, but yeah, I don't like the main options you have for pegging on the gun. This is why I don't like folding down that peg either. I don't like the main options you have for the gun. Oh, it doesn't want to come out now. Cool. I don't like it being held, and I don't like it on the forearm, even though that may be correct. It just doesn't look right to me. So what I end up doing, specifically with Thundercracker at least, is I just peg the guns back onto the wings. Once again, coming back to why I do not like how loose that particular peg is. Okay, so what I like to do with Thundercracker here is to peg the guns onto the wings, because yes, it's not like accurate and it doesn't really make them work as weapons, but I think they add a little bit of interest to the silhouette, and I think it's like, yes, I don't have any of the other Fall of Cybertron Seekers from Planet X, but I think what it ends up doing is it adds just a little bit of interest, and visual difference to his silhouette when compared to the other guys. And then there's the mace, which just go in the hand. Oh yes, I forgot to mention that the wrists do rotate and can go up and down, and the fingers open and close. Forgot to mention that during articulation. But the mace can just kind of clip in, as you do with these kinds of things. Close the hand, or close the fingers around it, and now he's holding the Energon mace. And that's typically how I have this guy displayed, because I just think he looks cool with the Now this backpack's coming undone. I swear I did not have these kinds of problems with this guy before. But maybe it's got something to do with the age of this thing. I don't know. But anyway, that is how I like to have him displayed on the shelf, with the Energon mace in hand and the guns up on the shoulders. I don't know, I just think that looks cool. And I'm not so bothered by the guns on the forearms or in hand thing, because this is a departure. The design is meant to be evocative of the original G1 characters, but different. So like that's fine. It's just I feel like the guns are too big to work as forearm mounted guns, and also they don't peg in all the way, so they don't sit flush with the forearms, so that's kind of eh. But anyway, let's wrap this train wreck of a video up. So here we've got our standard Voyager, and the Tall Deluxe stand-in, Samus Amiibo, and regular Deluxe. So here is Planet X's Thundercracker with the standard size comparisons, and like I said, he's big. The vehicle mode may have been roughly about the size, not the same mass, but roughly the same size as Reactivate Starscream, which is, I suppose, considered a Voyager. But robot mode, definitely bigger and bulkier than a Voyager. But since we were just talking about Reactivate Starscream, let's bring him in here. So here we've got him, and let's bring Thundercracker a little bit closer. So yeah, they are close to the same height, but Thundercracker is bigger. Like, he's noticeably taller and also noticeably bulkier. So yeah, I'd say not really a Voyager. But that's how they shake up. And finally, to really shake things up, we're going to use the size comparison that we've been using in virtually every single video for the past, what, like 4 years? 5 years? Here is Thundercracker with the duck tank. And that's it. Finally, I made a video on this guy. And yeah, he's a cool figure. I just, I don't really know what's going on with some of the plastics on this guy. I guess maybe over time, some things have just started getting damaged. Maybe, but I still don't really know. Like, I don't recall any of this being a thing when I first got the figure, or the last time I messed with him, which was probably like several months ago. So maybe it's just something I did. Maybe I pulled something the wrong way when I was transforming it and didn't realize it, or something. I don't know. Point is, I do think this is a very cool figure. I don't regret spending roughly leader class money on it. I think is very much worth that. I don't know about inflated aftermarket prices, though. I guess it just depends on how much you like this stuff. But I'm also a weird anomaly in that I don't feel it's necessary to have 3 versions of a Seeker mold. I really don't care. I understand the allure, but for me it's more like, if I want to get a given Seeker mold, whether it's the Planet X version, or Studio Series, or Reactivate, or Earthrise, or whatever, I'll I'll get the mold, but I'll get it for the character I want, and that could be entirely based on the individual decos, or it could be based on a whim. Like, maybe I feel like this one should be a Starscream, maybe I want this one to be a Skywarp. I don't know. So that is also something to consider if you want to get all of the different Seekers. Then that is another price factor to consider, because yeah, buying 3 of everything can get costly. But anyway, that has been more than enough on my thoughts of Planet X's Fatum or Fatum or whatever. What do you all think of this guy or any of the other Planet X Seekers? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from y'all. Thank you everybody for watching, and struggles as to what the next one will be, but we'll see.